Tonight, as we head into a long weekend, gyms, playgrounds, and indoor dining are once again an option.
I love our booth. We missed our booth.
Where the distance is not enough, we put plexiglass in between the tables.
We'll check in with business owners finally able to open their doors. Plus,
it's shocking. I think we're in disbelief and we're devastated.
excluded from the pandemic pay bump, some healthcare workers say they're being unfairly left out. And they've only been up for 2 weeks, but already Toronto's photo radar cameras have issued more than 7,000 speeding tickets. Good evening, I'm Marivelle Tarouk. Restaurants, gyms, playgrounds, even movie theaters, all operating with fewer restrictions now. Today marked the first day of Stage 3 for Toronto and Peel. For many establishments, their doors are open for the first time in 4 months. But as Greg Ross shows us, it's anything but business as usual.
We had pea-meal bacon, 3 eggs.
And home fries.
For the first time in 5 months, they were able to have breakfast inside their favorite restaurant. For this couple, it was one step closer to their regular routine.
I love our booth. We missed our booth. So yes, and have missed coming to see the boys here.
But for the staff at Sunny Morning Restaurant, it was anything but routine.
Where the distance is not enough, we put plexiglass in between the tables, and that's only in a couple of tables. Otherwise, they are pretty far apart. So we had to remove tables and reduce our capacity by a significant.
Owner Sergio Castano Garcia says, in addition to physical distancing, staff are required to wear masks, and they need to keep track of everyone who enters.
We take their name and telephone number of one person in the group.
Information that could be vital to health officials for contact tracing if there were to be a breakout of the virus.
Everybody's made an appointment when they do come in.
It has to be by appointment only at Cardio Go Gym to ensure they don't exceed their maximum capacity of 50 people. They've had to be creative inside to keep people apart by breaking the space up into zones.
So this space we've limited to 6 people at one given time, which in our opinion will allow enough space and elbow room for everybody to keep their distance from one another and still have a positive experience.
But distancing is only part of it.
We've had to invest in masks for both our staff and customers who come in and forget to have one. We've been doubling down on sanitation, hand sanitizers, disinfectants.
Obviously, sanitizing very important inside those gyms. Now, there are a number of businesses that are still not allowed to open: nightclubs, amusement parks, water parks, and buffet-style food services, just to name a few. Those are businesses that are still considered to be high risk, and they're going to have to wait. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Despite more back-to-school details from the province, questions continue over what it will mean for students and teachers. Today, the Premier and the province's medical officer responded to some of those concerns. Lorenda Redekop has more.
A day in the park before the long weekend. 10-year-old Josephine is glad school will be back on in September.
I feel excited. I've been missing my friends and my teacher.
Her mom is glad too, but is surprised it appears class sizes will stay the same.
The ministry is saying basically things are back to normal as usual. Here's the difference: wear a mask, and recess and lunch will be together. And so yes, I have a lot of concerns.
Cindy Law is also a high school teacher, but she doesn't know how it'll work with both in-person teaching and an online version needed for students who choose not to return to class.
I'm hoping they're going to have a centralized group of teachers that will only teach remotely, almost like e-learning, because to have to juggle both is going to be very, I guess, I don't have the word, exhausting.
Health officials have said that for the elementary grades, they know distancing won't be 100% possible, but that younger children are less likely to spread COVID-19.
We'll have to see how it goes and monitor how we can improve things as we go along.
Are we going to face a challenge? I'm sure we're going to face a challenge. But did we get the best medical advice we could ever get from some of the smartest minds in the country? Yes, we did.
One medical expert urges caution come back to school for families who may have an immune-compromised or elderly person in their bubble.
If there are vulnerable people seeing those kids, it might be reasonable for a couple of weeks to hold off, see what happens in the school system, see if rates are starting to go up before they start engaging back.
This mom and teacher is trying to remain positive.
I do believe that as a parent, even as a teacher, we need to be back in the classroom. The students function, like learning is better face-to-face.
She hopes there's time for school boards to work everything out. They have to submit a plan to the province by Tuesday. Lorenda Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
The Ontario government says it will not be continuing its relationship with the We charity. The Ministry of Education says it has been told not to renew its contract with We and to investigate expenditures to date. The charity has been mired in a controversy since the federal government chose it to run a $900 million student grant program. Shortly after the sole source contract was given to We, the Liberals came under fire from opposition parties over an alleged conflict of interest due to We's close relationship with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his family. Neither Trudeau nor Finance Minister Bill Morneau, who also has family ties to We, recused themselves from cabinet discussions on awarding that contract. Toronto police have made an arrest in a series of assaults, mainly against women in the Roncesvalles neighborhood. Police have been investigating 7 separate assaults within the last 3 months in the area. The most recent incident happened earlier this week. In some cases, the victims were spat on or had a liquid sprayed at them. Police have arrested 37-year-old Driss Zari. He's facing a number of charges, including assault and assault with a weapon. We are learning more about the victim and the suspect in a fatal shooting in Brampton earlier this week. Peel police say the man now facing a murder charge in the death of his girlfriend had breached a judge's orders barring him from being in contact with her 4 times. 25-year-old Darian Haley Henderson Bellman was found inside a home in Brampton on Tuesday, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene. 27-year-old Darnell Reed was taken to hospital with gunshot wounds, where he remains in critical condition. He is now charged with second-degree murder. In a rare comment on a case before the courts, Peel Police Chief Nishan Duraepa said the justice system not protecting Henderson Bellman is an unacceptable failure. Well, they've only been up and running for a couple of weeks, but those automated speed enforcement cameras around the city have already sent out over 7,000 tickets to speeding drivers. As Kelda Yoon reports, one particular area appears to be the most problematic.
By now, some drivers are well aware of the locations of the photo radar cameras, slowing down as they pass, but not everyone. Here on Renforth Drive near Lafferty Street is where the most tickets were handed out. That photo radar camera right there issued 890 tickets. That's 12% of all tickets that were handed out in the first 2 weeks of ticketing. It's also where the highest fine was issued, $718.
They're always speeding down here.
It's a 4-lane road at 40 kilometers an hour. It's not surprising.
That's right, this is a 40 zone. But students who go to school in the area say many drive much faster than that, making it dangerous for pedestrians and cyclists.
I see like a lot when I'm walking. It goes like so fast and it like scares me sometimes.
Sometimes at night, since this Tim Hortons is open 24 hours, there's people racing. People have gotten hit on this road.
That's what the city wants to stop. There were 42 deaths related to speeding in Toronto last year. In December, the city began installing 50 of these photo radar cameras in community safety zones near schools. Ticketing finally began earlier this month. Between July 6th and the 20th, the city says a total of 7,465 tickets were handed out. Of these, 519 drivers were repeat offenders. The most frequent repeat offender received 8 tickets.
We did a 3-month trial where we were issuing warnings, but now that those tickets are coming with a fine, I think that will change driver behavior. The message is loud and clear. We don't want speeding on our streets in Toronto.
Those who live in this neighborhood are hopeful with time the cameras will make a difference, including this woman whose mom received a ticket.
She was going around, I think, in the night, and they caught her, and so it was, yeah, she was pretty devastated.
So your mom was going down this street here?
Yeah, this one right here, yeah.
Do you think that will deter her from speeding again?
I sure hope so.
Nobody wants to take it right.
While the tickets can come with steep fines, drivers won't receive demerit points on their licenses. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
Mark Saunders wrapped up his term as Toronto's police chief this afternoon, and he was sent off in style by the men and women he's led for the past 5 years. The chief was accompanied by his wife for today's piping out ceremony at police headquarters. The city's first black police chief announced last month he was stepping down. Saunders was appointed to the job in 2015. He's been a police officer for nearly 4 decades. Toronto's deputy chief, James Raymer, will take over as chief until Saunders' replacement is chosen. Some health workers are speaking out to CBC Toronto today after learning they will not receive the pandemic pay bump. The $4 an hour pay increase for people on the front line was extended to more Ontario employees after protests, but some say they're still being unfairly left out. Chris Glover has their story.
Maggie Chen is proud to be an anesthesia assistant. When COVID-19 patients need to be intubated for a ventilator, she's alongside the doctor right at the patient's mouth.
We are needed at the front line. So there's always that little bit of a guilt that I'm exposing my elderly dad as well as my young daughter to this virus.
Yesterday, Human Resources at her Toronto hospital sent this list of jobs approved for the $4 an hour pandemic pay bump. Her job isn't on it. What was your initial thought?
This can't be, there had to be a typo.
Amid protests, the benefit has been extended to include more jobs, but the Premier says the list, now covering 375,000 employees, is capped.
I want everyone to get pandemic pay. Everyone's pitched in, but there has to be a line.
The doctor at the head of the table seems to be the line. The registered nurse to their left gets pandemic pay. The anesthesia assistant to the right does not.
It's shocking. I think we're in disbelief and we're devastated. I felt inequality and underappreciation. Again, that's not gonna stop me from doing my best at my job, but it just doesn't feel like someone is cheering me on.
Even more insulting for Chen, technically she's a respiratory therapist, another job that gets the pandemic pay bump. But she specializes as an anesthesia assistant. That extra responsibility and training is what's barring her from the extra money.
We still do exactly what they do. We just do a little bit more. And I think there's a big misunderstanding of the nature of our job that's causing this omission.
The Society of Respiratory Therapists can't wrap its head around the decision, this week sending a letter to the Premier and Health Minister to try and clear it up.
Anesthesia assistants absolutely fit very squarely within this decision. So there really isn't any clarity on our part why it is that they'd be excluded at this time. We're very confused about that.
Do you want to try a mummy?
Today, as Chen shows her 2.5-year-old the importance of wearing a mask, she's also instilling a new lesson: to speak out when you see something you think isn't fair. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Coming up, thousands of people in the U.S. have been receiving these little packages in the mail unsolicited, and now it's happening here. After the break, we'll have more on these mystery seeds and why the Canadian government is warning not to plant them. Plus,
a sunny start to the long weekend, but rain is just around the corner. Your full forecast after the break.
The federal government has rolled out a new COVID-19 notification app. It's meant to inform people if they may be near or maybe have been near someone who was tested positive over the past 2 weeks, while encouraging everyone to download it. Officials say the app is not mandatory and that it does not collect personal data or track the user's location. Mystery seeds have been appearing in mailboxes across the U.S. and the U.K. And tonight, a GTA woman is wondering why she received one of the packages. They're being sent from Asia. Now, an investigation is underway into what they are and who's sending them. Angelina King has more.
The package has my full name, my address, my phone number.
But it still struck Java Dignazio as unusual. It's very thin, has no customs documentation, and a strange scribble where the sender is supposed to sign. It appears it was sent from Singapore. The contents say it's one studded earring, but...
I opened the package, and inside the package, there's no instruction or anything. There was this little bag inside.
Filled with tiny reddish-brown seeds. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says it knows of at least 350 others who received similar mail and believes there are many more.
It's the unknown. You know, I have them in my hand, but I've double bagged them, and, you know, I'm going to wash my hands again.
Dignazio got the package a week ago. She called multiple agencies, including the CFIA, but couldn't get through or didn't get clear answers. So she followed instructions from U.S. authorities to double bag them and wash her hands. 4 days later, the CFIA released a statement.
It made me feel like there's too many steps for when there's an immediate issue.
So what do you do if you receive one of these little packages in the mail? The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says to contact your regional CFIA office and an inspector will give you further instructions. But make sure to keep all of the packaging and definitely don't plant them because they could be invasive.
We are very concerned about invasive species.
The executive director of the Invasive Species Centre says the damage they cause costs Ontario $3.6 billion a year.
They often don't have local enemies, so they can rapidly multiply quite quickly across the landscape and cause problems to our agriculture, our forestry, our recreation and our tourism.
The CFIA says it's still trying to determine the origin and nature of the seeds, but in the U.S., the Department of Agriculture has identified some of them as being mustard, cabbage, lavender, and rosemary.
It's bizarre.
Dignazio was able to get through to the CFIA today and is waiting to hear back. In the meantime, she's keeping the seeds in a third bag on her balcony as far away as possible. Angelina King, CBC News, Mississauga.
Okay, it's the Friday of a long weekend, so let's check in with meteorologist Nick Cernkovich for the forecast. How's it looking, Nick?
Well, a bit of a mixed bag as we head into the long weekend with sunshine to kick it off and rain for the rest of it, unfortunately, but it is in typical long weekend fashion. There's a look at your weather headlines. Again, sunny for tomorrow. Temperatures are also falling, though. We're going to see temperatures below the seasonal mark as we head through Sunday and Monday and actually into next week as well. We'll show you that in the long-range forecast in just a second. Today, we hit 29 degrees with the humidex in the low 30s. That's pretty much what you can expect heading into tomorrow. And tomorrow will also come with a good deal of sunshine. So clear skies tonight, or mostly clear skies anyway. Same story for tomorrow morning and into the afternoon. By the later afternoon, though, we'll start to see a bit of high cloud cover moving in. And it's all in advance of a system that's going to bring rain with it. Now, some showers down in Windsor tomorrow, but for the GTA and the Golden Horseshoe, we're looking at Saturday night into Sunday. This system pushing through, bringing with it showers. The slight chance we'll see a thunderstorm as well, and that looks to be an all-day event for Sunday, and then into Monday, a few scattered showers are possible. Now, how much rain can we expect with this? It really depends on where you are, and I say this a lot for these summer systems is, you know, I wouldn't put too much stock in the exact numbers, but it'll give you a range. Right now we're looking at about 20 millimeters of rain for the City of Toronto, but some of the models are pushing this thing a little bit further to the north, which means we could actually see less in the way of rainfall for the City of Toronto. But I think if you're headed north of the GTA, good chance we're going to see some pretty steady rainfall on Sunday. That looks to be where most of the rain is going to fall. For tonight, southwestern Ontario, temperatures down to about 19, 18 degrees. As we head through tomorrow, extreme southwestern Ontario, showers and the risk of a thunderstorm as we move through sort of the later afternoon hours as this system approaches. Otherwise, mainly cloudy skies. That system delayed, though, into the Golden Horseshoe, so tomorrow, basically a sunny day for most of the GTA and surrounding areas. That follows a clear night tonight of 18 degrees. Tomorrow, mainly sunny skies, highs to 28, 29 degrees. Humidex values of around 33. That is our only sunny day, though. And then as we move through Sunday, look for rain. Again, the potential for about 20 millimeters of rain there, but it's a bit of a range. A few scattered showers, so I've got 60% in there. I think we are going to see some rain, but it's not going to be a washout. Scattered showers on Monday, more in the way of steady rain on Tuesday, and cloudy into Wednesday. Maribel.
All right, thanks, Nick.
The weather is brought to you by Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. We test, so it runs. It's hard to stop a train.
It's Carnival weekend, but it's looking a lot different this year. The Toronto Caribbean Festival is going virtual due to the pandemic, but the weekend will still be filled with panel discussions and live music. And tomorrow there will be a virtual road Zoom party in place of all the festival's annual parade. It starts in the morning in Australia and heads around the globe to Japan, Trinidad, Barbados, and New York before ending in Toronto. You can stream the events live on their social media platforms. Stay with us. We're back after this break. A mosque in Mississauga found a unique way to safely celebrate Eid today by holding a drive-through. Turned out to be very popular as thousands of cars showed up to celebrate the Muslim holiday.
I'm really excited. Why? Because Eid is my favorite holiday.
The event today is actually we celebrate twice. Today is Friday, so that's a celebration on its own, and today is also the Eid al-Adha, is another celebration. Well, we improvised. We saw the people that needed a message of hope, and some people wanted to get out. So we found a way that we can do a drive-through. 10,000 cars came through, and people, not just the community, people from the whole GTA, when they saw online that we were on, everybody was desperate to come and feel good, feel that they belong to a community, feel that they were there for them. They're not on their own, and that's exactly what we want to do with everybody. Everybody's welcome here.
We feel very happy and so proud. They did a lot of effort and to enjoy us and our kids. Yeah, we are so happy to be here today.
We have to celebrate it always, you know. It's still restricted a little bit now because of COVID, but we're celebrating it still.
Since we stopped for the COVID period, it's very good to come here again and see people and meet with everyone.
I feel very happy with my family and with my kids. It happens only twice a year, so it's a very important occasion for Muslims, and we are very lucky to have Isna here making this drive-through.
Because everybody's desperate for a message of hope at this point. We've just simply given an extended hand to tell them, listen, it's not that bad, things are going to be good, but there's always a hope in the end and a light in the end of the tunnel, and we're here for you. You're not on your own.
Wonderful way to celebrate. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you back here Monday at 11. Good night, everyone.